Thanks so much for watching. Please click the subscribe. Okay, everyone, we are back. We're going to start by launching Flame and kind of showing you how to put together a sequence and stuff. So let's go ahead and click on Flame and launch that, however you do so. I'm on 2020.3.1 at the moment. By the time you see this, who knows where we'll be at. Go ahead and click on New, and then we're just going to title this Autodesk Flame Beginner Tutorial Series, AFBTS. Let's take a look at this. So the resolution, we're going to stick with HD. If you needed to change it to something else, like, you know, going up to 4K or 8K or 16K. Wow, that would be so awesome, dude. 16K. Oh, dude, that'd be so cool. That would choke my computer down so bad, I bet. We're going to do a 16:9 sequence. The color bit, I'm just going to leave it on 10 because this is a tutorial. I'm not doing this for like film release or anything like that. So 10-bit is going to be totally fine. It's not going to choke down my system too much. I'm just working off of a trash can Mac here. And then, you know, this is actually during the times of the coronavirus. So I'm actually working at home. So all my media is on an external hard drive and it's super slow. Like whenever it stops spinning, it just like has to like respin up and it takes Flame forever to kind of think about it. So it's not the best ideal situation, but that's where we are in the corona times. Let's take a look at the config templates. I'm going to set this. We can do 23976. Let's go ahead and do we'll just leave it at that. Why not? We'll do that. It's got less frames to render. It'll render out a little quicker instead of kicking up to 2997, the broadcast standard. So we'll leave that at that frame rate. I'm going to set my media to be at Apple ProRes, my renders and caches. Then you just hit create. I've already got a project, so I'm going to hit cancel at this moment, but you please hit create. And then looking further in this window, I know when I'm at my work, we've got 4 different editors. So if I need to actually pull up one of their commercials, I can click on computer host and it'll show me all their computers and I can navigate to their projects, launch their projects through there. The user settings, this is how you would create your own personal user setting. You just come on in here and hit name. You can go into here and do copy from and find a user to copy from. I was talking to Bo over at Autodesk just the other day, and he was recommending not doing that simply because the user can get corrupted quite easily, and that's the past week and a half I've actually been dealing with that. So I've kind of determined that it's best just to not even do the copy, just create new users with each upgrade of Flame and just keep it nice and clean and stuff. I'm gonna hit cancel on that, but you can hit create if you're doing a brand new user. So if you needed to do like different users, if you multiple people doing the same box and stuff, you can just click on your user and choose whatever user settings you want to do. I'm going to pick Brian Tutorials right here. Yes, that's my name, Brian. The mumbling editor reveals something. Ah! I'm kind of spastic sometimes. And here we are. This is the project and stuff. You're going to be launching it and you're going to have nothing in here. So let's kind of just create that. I'm going to go to my sequences tab. Just kind of a brief little rundown of what's going on over here. You have your batch window, and this is just going to show all the elements that go into your batch. And then you have these different reels. I've seen so many people trying to explain this, and coming from Avid, they explain it and it makes no sense at all. It's just like, what are you trying to say? Basically, the simple gist of it is these reels are folders or bins. If you're coming from a PC world, it's just a folder. You move your stuff into there, you're good to go. So you have your desktop. This is where everything just gets saved to. Then you have the libraries, which is just a backup of everything. So if you needed to back up your sequence, you can just click and drag it down into the libraries. I'm going to replace that. And then there, I've got a full backup of my whole sequence. The only reason to do that, it doesn't actually archive it or anything. It's just a backup within your project. And what I've been told from Flame or Autodesk is if the project does get corrupted, it's easier to bring it back to life on their end. if you have gotten this backup within the libraries. That's pretty much the only reason I've seen. I have never actually had to use it. I've had corrupted projects and it's just like, okay, well, bye-bye, there it goes. But that was in the early days of Flame and I was trying to kind of figure things out. It was total user error. Okay, so looking at this, we're going to, oh, why did I just click on that? Okay, we're going to click on sequences. So we have our folders. This is where you can load everything. We're going to go through that in just a second. To get us there, I'm going to right click on my sequences. I'm just going to choose a sequence and do a new little timeline. How about we just do AFBTS video 2-1. I'm going to name it that so I have a nice clean slate to kind of show you guys how to do a little timeline edit. First off, we're going to import some footage. I've got some footage imported already here, but we're going to bring in actual footage instead of just these graphics and audio that I have here. So you can click on Media Hub and then navigate to where you've downloaded your footage from. If you haven't downloaded it already, there's a link down below to my Google Drive. I've got all the footage and elements there nice and neatly packaged for you. Please go there and download it all. It's going to take a while, so let's pause. Oh, hey, you downloaded it all. Sweet, dude. That was super quick. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to navigate to where it is. I've got it on this little hard drive here. I'm going to go into graphics. I've got a little tutorial series folder here, and here's all of my elements. So the audio, you can just drag and drop these into here. We're going to go ahead and name this bin here, audio or reel. And then we'll name this second one video. And then we'll name this one graphics. And to do that, I'm just clicking, once, click again on it. It, reveals so you can actually name it. But I'm going to assume that you guys aren't total Muppets on using a Mac or a PC or a Linux box, Unix box, or whatever you're doing. You know what you're doing. Okay, so just click and drag these on into the bins. I don't need to drag the audio in because I've already got it good to go. The graphics, you can just go ahead and click and select and drag those all in. The video, this is what I'm actually going to be dragging in. I'm going to click and select all those, bring it on down here into my video folder, and then just pop it on in. And there's all my video elements. Going back to the timeline. Okay, so we have this single viewer here. We want to have multiple viewers, so we have like our program and preview monitors in essence. So to do so, you can click on this button that says player, and then you have source and sequence, triptych player, and trim view. So we're just going to do source, sequence, and if you see that, the little hotkey is Control-1 takes you to the 1, Control-2 takes you to the 2, Control-3 takes you to the 3 view, but we're just going to do a 2 view. So any video that you click on is just going to go into your preview monitor. So let's go ahead and find this first shot of the camera moving through the dark woods. Let's scroll through here. This is all 4K footage, so if you kind of see how I'm scrolling, there's this purple little box. That is my HD resolution, and then all the rest is just the 4K. So let's go ahead and grab this, something like that, and then we're going to press the bracket. That's going to be a mark in, or you can mark in by clicking right here too. Let's scroll on down. Click out. Do something like that. Then just drag it on into there. This is just saying, hey, the mismatched frame rates. This is shot at 25. You got a 2997 sequence. And then you just hit confirm. What this is now showing us is it being Flame, applied this time warp, and then also this Resize node. So the Resize is slamming that 4K footage into the HD sequence, and the time warp is changing that 25 into 2997 by applying a speed ramp or speed warp. So if we double click on these, you can actually see all the parameters within that effect. We're going to click out of there, this Resize. We're going to see all the parameters within this effect. You can see the scale, the position. So if you need to actually slide your footage around within that cropping, you can do that. I'm just hitting Control Z to kind of undo that. You can scale things up, but you can see that it loses the resolution, like it actually crops it. So if you scale it up, it's not going to have any of that 4K within it. So it's kind of an issue if you're wanting to kind of do like basically a pan and scan or something. Another way of doing that is there's a workaround by putting it into an action sequence and not having the resize node applied to it. We can go over that in a later episode. This other little thing is what's this, resizing. So this is like your best friend for getting things to actually fit in the screen. You can choose letterbox or crop image. Crop image is zoomed in quite a bit, and let's take a look at that. I'm kind of interested. Oh, see, then it just kind of like crops it, which is kind of interesting. Go ahead and play with these. I have noticed like if it's a different screen resolution, I've got like little black lines and stuff up here. I forget what those are called off the top of my head. Then I'm always like slamming this into like a center crop or a letterbox to kind of take care of that just by auto filling it for me instead of me applying a 2D transform and doing it by hand. I can just come into this resize and bam, bam, bam. There you go. All right, now let's get started cutting this timeline together. Let's go over to sequences and right click. We'll do new sequence. Let's just kind of walk through this window here. So this is where you can name your sequence. We'll do, how about timeline edit? We'll name it that. You can start off to have multiple video tracks. You can set up your resolution. We're just gonna do broadcast resolution 16:9 1080. That is perfect. You can also do custom resolutions right here. And this is setting up your sequence within your project. And you can set up sequences within your project that have different frame rates, have different aspect ratios, different bit depths, and so on and so forth. I like to set up my starting time code just to 0. I know a lot of people like to go with like an hour time code, but I've kind of moved past that since we're not in tape-based days anymore. Yay! File-based! Yay! And let's do a duration of this sequence of just 30 seconds. That's fine, just to get started. And then you can create that. And here's our timeline. So if you look here, I've got multiple tabs. I've just got different edits of this tutorial that I'm kind of going over with you guys. So just take a look at those. You can have different tabs open. You can go ahead and close out tabs. It's much set up a lot like the way of Adobe and stuff, having different tabs, different comps set up, so you can copy and paste from them and easily go between sequences, which is quite nice. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is let's just drag our audio down to our timeline. So we have the music and then the sound effects track. I'm going to click this home button just to zoom on out so we can see everything. We can go along and listen to our music and go ahead and drop in some markers to help us with our edits. Since we're on YouTube, we got the little YouTube Nazis. So I can't actually play the music on there or else this video will get dinged. So I'm not going to do that, but I do have all the timecode hits for markers. So let's go ahead and go through those. So we can just go ahead and scroll around using our left-right arrows to get exactly to the frame that we need. We can also click right here and type in the frame that you need to go to. So say I'm right here, I need to go to the first marker of 625. I can go there, then hit backslash, and then that creates the marker. Also with this, you can, if you want to jump ahead 30 frames, you can go click on it, choose plus 30, and it'll jump you up 30 frames. If you want to go back, do a minus 10 frames. That'll take you back there. Take a look at markers. Once you drop a marker, there is the global color right here. You can choose any kind of color that you want to do, and that's the global. Once you drop the markers on here, then you have this individual marker color. So we can choose that. So that purple, that's kind of cool, but let's do, how about a blue? Blue and green, blue and green. So that first marker is right there. Let's go ahead and go down to 1022 and then drop another marker with our backslash key. And let's jump ahead to 1314 and another marker. And these markers, you can also name them, give them like little notes and stuff. So when you do pull up your markers And here they would have the little notes and stuff within there, little comments. So if you are doing like an edit and you just want to have some quick little comments on there, you could easily do that too. Let's drop in this last marker at 1604 and a backslash right there. All right, now that we have our markers in place, let's go ahead and start cutting in some footage. So right now we have just the one viewer up. Let's go ahead and do Control 2. So we have a 2 viewer up. And go ahead and mark it in and mark it out. Doesn't really matter. So to mark in, you just find your place and press the left bracket. And to mark out, you press the right bracket. And you just drag that right on your timeline. If you notice that, well, here, let's take a look at this. I was going to talk about this audio overlay right here, but let's see what this is first. So this footage here is at 25 frames. My sequence is at 2997. So it's just letting me know that it's automatically going to apply a time warp to compensate for this difference. So you can just hit confirm. And then what that does is creates your time warp and your resize node. Your resize node is just like if you have 4K footage, it's going to just take that footage and slam it down into your HD or your timeline resolution. So here it overwrote my audio, so I'm going to undo that. To get it so it doesn't overwrite, what I've been doing is just locking. And you know, this is what us editors at the post house that I work at, this is how we kind of do a workaround for that. I'm sure there's an actual way of doing it. If you guys know, please leave a comment, because that would be hugely helpful. So we're just going to drag this on down there with the tracks locked, hit confirm, so it gives us that resize node and our time warp. Let's go on down here to this first marker and then just drag this along. Right now I have snap turned on. So snap is going to be where this will actually snap to edits and your playhead cursor. You also have ripple. I'm sure you know what ripple is, and sync. I think that just keeps the audio and stuff in sync, I would imagine. I don't know. I never really turned that off. So taking a look at this shot, that one looks good. So let's go ahead and drop in this next shot. Let's click on the dirty old abandoned decaying. Yes, that's just awesome. Let's scrub through here. We want to find a nice little spot with this pillar, right? Something like that. We can just click in to mark in right here, and click out right there instead of using our hotkeys also. Once again, it's saying, hey numbnut, this is 25, you got 2997. We're gonna say yes. So like I've been working on this system for about a year, and I haven't not found out all the cool hotkeys. I know in Avid DS is really nice when you had a clip on a timeline, say like this, and I just parked my my playhead indicator down the timeline. I'd hit the page down button, and it would just like snap on over to it. It's super handy, made editing the timeline so quick. You know, I don't know if there's a hotkey like that in Flame. If you guys know, please leave a comment and let me know, because that would be hugely awesome. So you can do a mark in and a mark out on your timeline. To clear that mark in and mark out, press the space bar and then the brackets together, and that will clear that out. So this shot here, this is going to be our shot where we comp in our zombie and whatnot, and that's the next shot I have here. He's green screened. We're going to go ahead and just leave that not on the timeline right now. When we start comping that shot together, we'll go ahead and mess with that footage. Our next shot is this Halloween horror, little wooded glen. Let's go ahead and find this dude. So here's our little guy back here. Let's go ahead and find him so he's kind of back here behind the tree a little bit more. Let's go ahead and mark that in. We'll go down here and mark it out. So here's a good example of 4K footage. If we look at this, we have that purple box right there. That's showing us our HD resolution. And then the rest of the shot is all 4K. So it's showing us that we have a lot more resolution than our current timeline. When I put this down here, it's going to apply that resize node, and then we'll jump on into that and kind of take a look at it. Let's just go down here and go ahead and click that. Get that into there. Let's jump in this resize and take a look at that. So right there, my footage wasn't showing up, so I click in the program monitor there and just press the 4 key, which is showing us our timeline then. Jumping into here, you can see that, you know, it's got the 4K resolution here. You can position it, which it loses. Whoops. it loses information here by using these position anchors. To be able to do a scale, you can scale in, but then scaling out, you lose information. There's a workaround for this, and if you guys are interested, I can easily make another video about that. It's requiring to jump into action and stuff, and that's a really simple workaround. We'll do that in another video. Let's do this next shot here. We'll kind of grab it like right about there. So mark in with the left bracket. We'll mark out right about there. Drag down. There we go. We'll just slide him on. Let's get this last shot on here. It's this creepy dude walking down the street. I don't know what he's up to. He's up to no good. You know it. Well, why else would he be out there? Just, man, that guy. He's so scary. Okay, so a lot of times, a little workaround. This is kind of the purpose of this tutorial series, is to help out new editors. And this is another issue that I came across that I still don't know how to find like a proper workaround or a proper way of handling it. But a lot of times we'll have like, multiple layers on the timeline, and it'll introduce quite a bit of lag when you just scrubbing through. I'm not seeing any right here, but if we had a few layers, you would see it. To be able to get around that, I've just had to go through and turn off all my different layers, and then I can scrub things pretty easily and stuff, and just leaving one of the layers on. I don't know if there's a better way of doing that. If you guys know, go ahead and leave a comment on that one too. Man, I think you guys are doing more work and more help to me than I'm doing for you. What about that? So we have this piece of video here that has that audio. I'm going to unlock these tracks so I can get this audio onto there. There we go. So this audio is now married to this. If you want to make it so you can just trim this and not have it be trimming the audio and whatnot too, then what you do is just right click on here and choose groups and do delete sync group. That's going to unsync that audio to the video. And there we have it. There's our timeline all cut together. And in the next video, we're going to go over color correcting all these shots on the timeline, and then we'll start jumping in the batch after that. We'll see you in the next video, guys. Check out my band page, Fade to Black, on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and everything else. Hey, we have lots of tutorials coming up. Please come back, check us out. Even better, click the subscribe button with the little bell.